आज पीर का रोज़ यानी हफ्ते का पहला दिन। लेट्स स्टार्ट विद अ बिट ऑफ लर्निंग। एक अच्छी खबर हमारे पाकिस्तान भर के स्टूडेंट्स के लिए जो हायर एजुकेशन के ऑप्शंस को एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं, जानना चाहते हैं कि व्हाट इज़ इट लाइक टू अप्लाई फॉर योर पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट और इवन फर्दर स्टडीज़, यानी अगर आप पीएचडी पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट वगैरह परस्यू कर रहे हैं तो आपके पास क्या क्या ऑप्शंस हैं। वी हैव ए रिनाउंड लिटरेरी फिगर एकेडमिशियन विजिटिंग पाकिस्तान। मैं बात कर रही हूँ प्रोफेसर राहत मुनीर की, जो कि हेड ऑफ डिपार्टमेंट हैं ऑफ अकाउंटिंग एंड कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस विद द मैक्वारी बिजनेस स्कूल। ऑफ कोर्स जब हम बिजनेस स्कूल्स की बात करते हैं, वन ऑफ द मोस्ट रिनाउंड स्कूल्स एंड प्लेसेस फ्रॉम सिडनी, और ख़ास तौर पे बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स के लिए एक अट्रैक्टिव डेस्टिनेशन। सो लेट्स बी इन कॉन्वर्जेशन विद हिम बिकॉज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंगली ही इज़ प्रेजेंटली इन पाकिस्तान, और ये मुख्तलिफ यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में स्टूडेंट्स से इंटरेक्ट करेंगे, उनके सवालात जानेंगे, एंड इट विल बी वेरी वेरी फुलफिलिंग। वी आर होपिंग दैट इंशाल्लाह वील सी हिम सून इन कराची अगैन, बट प्रेजेंटली ही इज़ इन लाहौर। सो लेट्स वेलकम टू द शो प्रोफेसर राहत मुनीर। अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर।
जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच सिद्रा हैविंग मी।
साहब, आपकी आवाज़ मुझे नहीं आ रही है, वी आर जस्ट गोइंग टू सॉर्ट ऑफ वर्क टूवर्ड्स इट। लेकिन सबसे बड़ी बात कि यू नो यू आर बीइंग वॉच्ड बाय नॉट जस्ट स्टूडेंट्स, पोटेंशियल स्टूडेंट्स, बट ऑल्सो आवर एकेडमिशियंस। कैसे एक लर्निंग इन्वायरमेंट आज के ज़माने में क्रिएट किया जा सकता है, जबकि बार बार ये बात की जाती है देयर इज़ हाइब्रिड लर्निंग, स्टूडेंट्स आर लेस इंटरेस्टेड इन मेमोराइजिंग थिंग्स, जेन ज़ी के बारे में पीपल हैव ऑल सॉर्ट्स ऑफ वरीज। तो आप बताइए, आपके ख्याल में एक म्यूचुअली बेनिफिशियल लर्निंग एंड टीचिंग इन्वायरमेंट कैसे क्रिएट किया जा सकता है?
इसमें सिद्रा ऐसा है कि इट हैज़ टू बी बोथ।
जी,
नंबर वन, इन पर्सन इन अ क्लासरूम। I think that is very important to have interaction with the students, with the teacher there standing and communicating with the students, and at the same time using all digital ways and means to communicate and engage with the students. So the philosophy behind us actually in teaching is engagement with the students. So that is the best way to communicate. Environment की आप बात करिए, then I think the best other ways are that are learning and teaching tools which we use in a classroom, which are in small classes, where we engage students more in, case studies or activities, rather than having classes which are large in size. At Macquarie we do have students with 500 plus student per subject, but we divide them in small classes. वो जो एक monotony है at a large classes, we try to break it and bring them in a small classes which are more case study based or activity based, and then we try to engage the students coming from different countries. So Macquarie is a place where we have people from over 70 countries, especially in the business school, and with the different learning styles we try to understand each one's learning style and then adopt that one in a classroom.
एब्सोल्युटली। प्रोफेसर राहत, ये भी बताइए कि व्हेन यू लुक एट अ क्लास एज इंटरनेशनल एज के जिसमें 70 मुख्तलिफ ममालिक से लोग मौजूद हों, हाउ डू पाकिस्तानीज़ फेयर इन दैट व्हेन यू लुक एट द पाकिस्तानी स्टूडेंट अराइविंग इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया और अदर पार्ट्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड where they have to survive, manage their schedules in a very competitive international environment? अभी तक आपकी क्या ऑब्जर्वेशन है? Do they fare well? Do they do they have to work hard? What are the key survival skills that they would require?
Gee, I think that's a very interesting question, and this is something which every international student they face. और उसमें जब student आते हैं, obviously when you're going for international education, the culture is new, education is new, university is new, people are new, and you sit in an environment where people from different countries are with you, and like people from China or maybe from Bangladesh and from Europe and from America as well. So then you naturally you find it difficult, plus there is a homesickness also at the same time when you're away, and it becomes difficult. But with my experience, I've seen Pakistani students perform well, and they're very good in terms of class engagement. They do ask questions. Their style of learning is also more engaging. Even sometime I can pinpoint in a classroom when I teach, especially my postdoctoral students, that these are from Pakistan. So I think the Pakistani students come with a lot of commitment, because they are coming from a country where resources are not plenty, and they know that one, and plus at the same time when they land in Sydney or at Macquarie University or even in any university, they work very hard. They work as well as they study. And then one advice which I always give to students, especially coming from Pakistan, is कि इसको balance करें आप, balance in terms of work, and the Sri Lankan government allows students to work certain hours. At the same time, they are in a classroom and they take full load. So back to your question, in terms of performance, Pakistani students do perform well. I have seen their success rate is very high and their employability rate is also very high. Some students, they choose to come back. In fact, many students are coming back and they are well accommodated, and we have a huge alumni setup here in Pakistan. At the same time, some people, they do for future career prospects, they stay in Sydney or in Australia, and they are accommodated by one of the large, a few large organizations in the world. And many of my Pakistani students, in fact, they're working for Big Four consulting firms or large size banks or commercial organizations. So it shows that Pakistani students are really performing well, not only at undergraduate level or postgraduate level, even at a doctoral level. And the students have successfully finished their PhD thesis and publishing in top tier journals.
Absolutely. Professor Rahat, we must also take benefit of the fact that you're a widely celebrated and published author. You have about 100 peer-reviewed journal articles, books chapters, monographs, commissioned reports, और इसके साथ-साथ over 50 publications for professional and lay audiences. So please tell me, everybody has been talking about the inflationary pressures and the economic pressures being felt by all countries, be it developing or developed world. What is your economic forecast, especially because it's a business school and these professionals, these students are going to be studying how to forecast and how to make the most of these economic patterns and peers. What is your forecast for the next 5 years? How is the economic outlook for the world?
Thank you. So that's a very interesting question. Actually, if you look at the globe, the entire all countries, developed and developing countries, they all are facing economic crisis. In some countries, inflation rate is very high, therefore interest rate is also very high. Australia में भी यही situation है, वहाँ भी interest rate is high since last almost 1 decade now. We are paying around 5%. In Pakistan, maybe interest rate is on very high side, and that's because of inflationary pressures. At the same time, our labor market is also very tight. You know, the job market we call it the labor market. That is also very tight. Finding the right positions, and there's so many graduates coming out of universities, whether they're getting placements in the market or not. Now we actually have touched almost globally the rock bottom. And I believe within the next 1 to 2 years, I've seen the trends of improving in the economic outlook of these countries. अगर आप देखिए पाकिस्तान के last 6 month economic outlook, your inflation has dropped, interest rate has dropped, employment figures have become positive, and you know, underemployment has gone down. There's economic growth. आपकी agricultural demand has also increased. Same is with Australia, and even if I look at US or Canada, their figures are more or less in the same trend. So for Pakistan, it's not a unique situation, or it's not a unique situation for Australia, but for the other countries as well. European countries are in the same situation. So I'm expecting in next 4 to 5 years, or maybe a little more, then you will see the stable economic situation in many countries, and that's what it's going to.
Professor Rahat, there's a worldwide fear when it comes to students and young professionals that perhaps technology and artificial intelligence will take their career and their livelihoods away. Do you see that happening, especially in terms of businesses as well, because technology is allowing for a rapid automation? What would your advice be to students when they're honing the right skills to sort of future-proof their careers?
I think my response is yes or no, both. IT is coming, it's improving efficiency and the way we work and the way we would work in the future. But there are certain jobs जहाँ पर IT perhaps would take over. Now that takeover doesn't mean that they would replace the jobs. अगर आप demand देखें, globally demand, I very closely watch actually Australian market because I care for students from Macquarie University where they are placed. Now the demand for all business students is going up. It means even despite having IT, where we are talking about driverless cars and driverless buses and driverless trains and IT coming in, and AI is taking over everything. But at the same time, we need people, those who are analytics, those who can analyze data, those who can make decisions, those who are in advisory positions. So you see that the trend in many organizations.
I'm sorry to interject. Please tell me, are there any blind spots, things, opportunities or perhaps challenges that we are missing out on, and specifically when it comes to Pakistani students and academia? How should we be preparing as a society for these upcoming economic challenges / opportunities?
I think the best way would be the Macquarie model, where we focus on skills. That is something which I have seen in Pakistani students sometimes is too much focus on knowledge acquisition, and in a classroom you have to go beyond classroom. The professor or the teacher in a classroom has to bring more skills in a class and teach skills. That is something which I have seen is missing. For example, when you meet someone, how you introduce yourself, those etiquettes, these are important skills. It doesn't require any cost. And then this is something which normally I've seen is lacking. And skills like becoming a street smart, I think that is also very important skills.
Very true.
And then what you do when you are.
Absolutely, and you'll be interacting with a very diverse range of students and universities and academia. I want to also probe on the fact that you're an internationally renowned scholar for curriculum development, pioneering innovative learning and teaching practices. So what would your advice be to our universities and our faculty, our teachers who are preparing these students for tomorrow?
Yeah, Mary, advice is just simple. If you look at skills versus knowledge, the focus has to be on skills. That's number one. And I would advise every university here, don't run for rankings. Rankings do come when you have good quality students. So make students more skillful. I think that is important. And then back them with the knowledge areas. And that's what I would always be doing. For example, many students I've seen, they even don't know what is the personal branding, how to network, how to use LinkedIn, and how to prepare their CV and a cover letter. These are basic skills, and these skills are not something which we feel like students will have to learn at their own. These are the skills your students we teach in a classroom. ये expectation है, and this is what we do at Macquarie University. Every degree, whether it's undergraduate or postgraduate or even doctoral level, we run number of sessions which are formal session for students starting from first year to second year to third year, that how to socialize even. We call it as social skills, and as a part of capstone or professional and community unit which we run at undergraduate.
Absolutely.
So
how to build your social capital.
The world is moving into.
Very true. You're absolutely right, Professor Rahat. These are skills which are of critical importance in the days to come. Thank you very much for making time for us today. Very quickly, I know that you have a long list of universities that you will be visiting. Can you tell us a few? I'm sure the students are very excited about the masterclass that you will be leading there.
We have number of partners here. I was in Islamabad for last 3-4 days. वहाँ पर हमारा नस्ट के साथ collaboration है, Bahria के साथ collaboration है, and we have also signed MOU with Air University is there. We are very selective there. In Lahore School of Economics. After this talk, I'll be going there. At the same time, Karachi में हमारा IBA के साथ और BM के साथ भी collaboration है. So
we look
have
forward to
selected the best
welcoming you at
institutions.
all
We
these
feel like
campuses, specifically in IBA Karachi as well. Thank you very much for making time for us, Professor Rahat. And with this, we are going to head for a break, but there are very interesting stories lined up for you today. सबसे बढ़कर तो ये कि yes, let's prepare for tomorrow. और उसके लिए जितने students इन universities में मौजूद हैं, उनके लिए एक fantastic opportunity है with this masterclass. At least it will give you some exposure and some clarity. और आपके जहन में अगर कोई भी सवाल है about pursuing higher education abroad, specifically at this business schools or others, so Professor Rahat is going to be very, very useful for you over there.